Hey, what's up? A gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. It is Wednesday, June 26th, and it is 2:45 in the a.m. And check this out. I had me a time in the Lord yesterday afternoon after I got off work. First, I had some good news. Now, for me, little things mean a lot. And to you, this may be seemingly unimportant, but to me, it meant the world, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so for the first point of good news was I had, there's several points of good news now that I think about it, but the one that hit me is actually the second. The first one is I had a telehealth appointment with my endocrinologist, and I've shared I'm type 1 diabetic, which means I'm insulin dependent. And I want to say last month my numbers were all over the map. Now, when I say numbers, I want to say my glucose numbers, how much sugar is in my blood. And I mean, they were all over the map. And most of them were high, which is not a good thing. That leads to what's called ketoacidosis and basically system shutdown. And there's some things that come with diabetes that, for the most part, are unavoidable. And every so often I struggle with bits and pieces of those things. But my numbers were extremely high. Met with my endocrinologist, and last month she suggested a few things, and I started doing a few more things because I had been relatively stable for a goodly number of years since being diagnosed. And after my mom's passing, I started cheating on my diet and just slacking off altogether. First year I was cool. Then as I slid into the second year, grieving really started to set in, and I would say a slight depression. I was able to function, in the daily routine, but a slight depression. Saying all that to say is my numbers were phenomenal. I started eating more salads. I average about 7,000 steps a day. My goal is 10,000 every day, but age and diabetes complications sometimes prevent that. But I am more active, so I happily received the news that my numbers are much better. Then, after I got off work, I go to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription. There's a whole bunch of medicines that go with diabetes other than the insulin too. You have to take statins to protect your other organs. I have a blood pressure medication. That is hereditary. Everybody in my family just about struggles with high blood pressure. And it's not because of diet. It's definitely genetic, because I have some very healthy eaters that still struggle. But so went to get the insulin and the one of the statins. Now I take two types of insulin. One was super expensive. Notice I said was. It's $25 for a little vial, and the vial is only good for 30 days after you open it. Okay, so I get to the pharmacy yesterday, and it's I get the total of my medications, and I'm I look at the lady, it's are you sure? The whole total was $36. I said, did they change the price of the insulin? And I held up the insulin. I normally get 2 vials when I go. I said, this normally costs $50. And she went to the computer and looked it up, and she's like, no, the price changed. Man, I was so happy. My vitamins, my daily multiple vitamins that I purchase actually cost more than the insulin now. And I was happy to pay it. Let me just say that I was happy to pay it. And then to top all that off, I called my friend. I've shared that I have a friend that I went to seminary with, and this particular friend was in ministry long before I received my calling and my wake-up call. And I was sharing with this sister. And, first we got caught up on everyday life. And then I was sharing with her, and man, I started to talk about being lukewarm, which was my introduction yesterday. And we preached. I need to say that we preached. And I enjoy these conversations because, we pose questions to one another that, take the sermon even further when we start preaching. So I had me a time in the Lord yesterday. We had a car revival, because I call when I'm in my car. And when I get home, I'm parked and I'm sitting in my car, which sometimes troubles my neighbors because they act like they don't know who I am. Now, you've seen my car a million times. You've seen my car parked in front of my house a million times. But because I'm black, you have to keep checking. And that's the only reason, because I don't live in a black neighborhood. I don't live in a neighborhood where there are numerous black people. It's like, I think there's 5 black people that I've seen in the vicinity of where I live. Yeah, if we go to the supermarket, that's a different story. But there are not a lot of African Americans in my neighborhood. And so I can see blinds moving. I've been sitting in the car too long. It's like there's a time limit for being black in a certain neighborhood. So that frustrates me on a regular basis. But I'm gonna get back to the good points and the highlights. We had us a time in the Lord. Amen. I just wanted to share that with you. This is not my introduction video because I prattled on for long enough just to share some good news. I'm happy about it. Amen. Now, I'm going to do a part 2 so you'll get my opening message.